Hi guys, my name is Nonema Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to look into Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng and the defense or case of accused number one Muzi Sibiya. I want us to look into that. I'm going somewhere with this. I'll do a second video. You will understand when you watch both videos. Okay. Now, this was not just the defense case of accused number one. It became a test of judicial temperament, courtroom power, and procedural fairness. Inside the Pretoria High Court, during the defense case of accused number one Muzi Sibiya, something shifted. The courtroom stopped being a neutral space and became a pressure chamber where defense witnesses were questioned under tension. Defense lawyers were rebuked, defense lawyers were sharply rebuked, and the judge himself became a central character in the trial. So today, we take a courtroom-focused deep dive into the conduct of Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng during the defense case of accused number one. No speculations, no emotion, but what unfolded, how it unfolded, and why it matters. You will understand. Number one, the moment the defense began, the moment the defense case began, when the defense case of Muzi Sibiya officially opened, that the atmosphere was already fragile. The state had closed a case riddled with contradictions, disputed confessions, and credibility problems. That's what we were dealing with, we were coming from, right? This was supposed to be the defense moment to fill the silence, to restore balance, and to test the state's failures. Full-blown, open court, no mercy, just brutality. Okay? That's what defense came for. Now, instead, what followed was a defense case conducted under intense judicial control of Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng. He made it clear from the outset the defense will move quickly, the witnesses will be ready or compelled, delays will not be tolerated. That was Judge Rata. This was not a passive referee. This was a judge actively driving the pace of the defense case. That's what he was doing. Number two, now let's look at how the defense witnesses were treated. Let's talk about the witnesses self now. Defense witnesses for accused number one were not handled with softness or patience by Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng. They were treated with procedural suspicion. When the witnesses were not immediately available, the court, do you want to know what the court did? The court threatened formal court orders. When preparation appeared thin, the court expressed open frustration. When testimony did not move efficiently, the judge intervened. From the bench came a clear message: this court will not babysit the defense. But this court was babysitting the state case. Not to be fair, judicial case management is legitimate, but here is the issue. The same tolerance shown for a stumbling state case was not extended to the defense. Defense witnesses were placed under microscope before they even spoke. That imbalance matters. That is what Judge Rata did there. The third thing that happened in that courtroom during the case of accused number one, the defense case of accused number one, the defense lawyer was under fire. Now we came to one of the most controversial aspects of this phase of trial. The treatment of defense counsel, particularly Advocate Charles Mnisi. In open court during a heated exchange, the judge told Mnisi, "You shut up." Not in chambers, not in written ruling, but on the record. It's there. You shut up. This moment echoed across South Africa's legal community because judges are expected to correct lawyers, yes, control proceeding, yes, but maintain judicial restraint. What the public witnessed, though, was judicial dominance, not judicial distance. Mnisi was repeatedly cut off, admonished, and publicly scolded by Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng. At one point, he openly stated that the treatment was affecting him mentally, a rare and serious admission from senior counsel. Whether one agrees with Mnisi or not, the power imbalance is or was undeniable. Judge Rata was showing off his power in that courtroom. Number 4, one of the things that we witness, contrast, when the judge favored the defense. Here, where this analysis becomes honest and uncomfortable, Judge Rata was not constantly anti-defense, but mostly he is. In one of the most critical rulings of the entire trial, Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng, there was a time that he agreed with Mnisi. Yeah, there was a time he agreed at some point with Mnisi, but I don't want to focus on that. But the bottom line is that Judge Rata is always an unfair judge, and Judge Rata is always showing impartiality. He's not a partial judge. Ne? Yes. So, yeah, those are the things that one would sit here and be like, now I'm wondering, how is Ntanzi's lawyer going to survive Judge Rata? But then again, I'm not worried. Anyway, now let's look at the judge as a central character. During the defense case of Accused 1, Judge Mokgoatlheng stopped being an invisible umpire. He became a manager, a disciplinarian, a dominant voice in proceedings. At times, he shielded the process of the stage case. At times, he overshadowed the process. Courtroom decorum was enforced aggressively, sometimes at the cost of perceived neutrality. He was not a neutral judge. He wasn't. And perception matters, Kesan, because justice must not only be done, it must seem to be done. And one of the things that was very problematic there is that Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng showed us that, guys, I'm not with you on this one. And then the closing of Muzi Sibiya's defense case. When the defense case of Accused number 1 finally closed, it did not feel complete. There was no sense of full ventilation, equal footing, or procedural calm. Instead, it closed under pressure, speed, and judicial impatience. The defense did not collapse. It was compressed, and that is a crucial distinction. So, Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng's conduct during the defense case of Muzi will be debated long after the trial ends, not because of the law, but because of how power was exercised. He protected constitutional principles for the state's benefit. He excluded unlawful evidence. According to him, he called things like that, okay? He was a judge that was protecting the state. He was also publicly humiliating the defense counsel and tightened the leash on defense witnesses. He was just a judge who was there for the state all the way. He was the prosecutor at some point. He was the defense lawyer for the state at some point. This was a defense case fought not only against the state, but against the weight of the bench itself. And that raises one unavoidable question. Was this justice under control or justice under command? That is where Judge Rata was showing. If you believe courtroom conduct matters as much as verdicts, please subscribe on this channel. If you believe judges must be firm without being forceful, please comment on this video. And if you believe the defense case of Muzi Sibiya deserved more oxygen, share this video. Share this video, please. Justice does not fear scrutiny. It demands it because it's not scared to come out alive. It's not. What are your thoughts when it comes to that? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.